Get back with the squad, man. It's Tampa's dope, but Miami's really where it's at. It's just like fast paced, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Seems like a lot of good business opportunities down there as well.
There's a lot. There's a lot. All right, so if this worked right, we are live. Ben, welcome to the six figure SMA community, my man. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. Had a good week so far. Got 3 closes on the books and just happy to be here.
Nice, man. I was gonna say you're looking great, man. I am kind of confused. Where's the mustache at?
The mustache, we had to switch it up, man. We had to switch it up.
I respect it. For those of you that are watching on here, Ben's always had the best mustache I've ever seen from anybody on there. So you're looking good, man. I like it. It's a nice switch up.
Appreciate it. A lot of people tell me I look younger, but I'll take it for now.
You do look younger. I mean, same thing with me, man. Like if I shave my face, I have like the biggest baby face out there. So it's like people say like you're like 10 years younger.
Yeah, I can't tell. I don't know if it's hurting or helping sales, but everything's going good, so I'm rolling with it.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, tell me a little bit about it. I mean, before we like jump into your sales, and we were chatting a little bit about it, like when we were first on here. We met what, like roughly a year ago? Is that right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than a year ago at this point, but yeah, it's been a wild ride the past year. I mean, a lot of growth. I was actually looking at my Stripe account the other week, and it's just like crazy because it was like this, like this, like this, and then boom, it's like that. So things just start to click when you're doing what you should be doing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's things just start skyrocketing. And I always tell people this, it's like you've got to get that momentum rolling. So for you, man, like what was it that really, well, before we jump into like momentum, like tell me where you're at like right now. I mean, how's your agency doing right now?
Yeah, so the agency has never been better. So we actually just crossed the 27K mark in January, and also, ironically enough, we've also went through the most shit or the most crap the past month with just business managers and everything. So it's kind of just like it's just growth pains at the same time, which I would just know like as soon as we can push through this, 50K is on the other side of that. So we're at roughly 27K right now, killing it. Usually have anywhere from 3 to 5 closes a week right now, and we're about to add on a new sales guy here.
That's awesome, man. You pointed that out 100%. Like a lot of people think it's just, oh, you're gonna start and then you're just gonna go straight up.
Yeah.
Complete opposite. It's like this. It's literally a roller coaster, and that's how you know you're making moves. Like like if I'm talking to someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, our agency's doing like 50K a month, and we just went from 0 to 50K." It's like either one, you're lying, or two, there's a lot that you're not saying in there. So like
Yeah.
that truth you're speaking right there, man, is like just issues with things happening. And like for you guys, what do you think the biggest challenge has been from going to, let's just say from 10K to 27K?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is obviously for us, I think it's going to be retention. So it's just making sure we're taking care of the clients and getting good fulfillment, which we're killing now. So more or less, it's just having that personal connection with the clients and kind of building a community or at least a relationship with your clients. Because that's what I'm starting to realize. I'm starting to follow the patterns of success. And it's like every great entrepreneur or company has some type of community that people can come together and speak or just feel personable with the person that they're working with. So I think that's the biggest change, and just making sure we're taking care of them and taking responsibilities for our clients' results at the same time as making them take responsibility, because at the end of the day, we got to hold them accountable to make sure that they're going to follow our system and process.
I love that, man. I mean, that's 100% spot on. And for everybody, I see we got some people tuning in right now. For some reason, my phone is being weird on the phone and doesn't let me know who's on here. But I see we got about 10 to 15 listeners coming in and out. If you guys are on here, do me a favor and give me a hashtag live down below. Ben's like literally like one of the people that you want to model after. If you're doing less than 27K, this is the type of guy that you want to pay attention to and model off of, because he's doing everything right and building up the momentum and just going the right way. So give us a hashtag live if you're on here. If you're catching the replay, you know the drill, hashtag replay. The more people that we get engaged on here, the more people that see this message, and ultimately the more people Ben can help out over here. So again, Ben, thank you so much for hopping on here, my man. For everybody that doesn't exactly know who you are, you want to give a rundown of who you are, the industry you're working in, and kind of like, where you got started. Because I know with me and you, it was something where it was just like, yo, let's just hop on a quick consulting call that kind of led towards, kind of just going uphill in a roller coaster from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So yeah, let me give everyone a quick breakdown. So as you guys know, my name is Ben. Ben Kotz is my last name. And basically what happened with me and my agency is I was graduating from Western Michigan University back in 2017. And I decided to enroll in Ty Lopez's course because I come from an entrepreneurship family and I knew that was the route that I wanted to go eventually. But as I graduated from school, I went to Thailand for a month, came back, moved to Chicago, worked a corporate job, hated it. It was just a phone jockey working for a third-party logistics company. Bless their soul for letting me go because it led me down this route right here. And after I lived in Chicago for a year, I moved back home to Michigan. I actually moved in with my family to save a lot of money and just bet it all on myself and start this agency. And I think right around that time, I started reaching out to Justin for help. And basically, it's been a wild ride. I was able to build it up to roughly 10K in Michigan. And then from there, I was really not even in a niche. I was like focusing on, gyms, dog daycare centers, you name it. If I could help them out, I was. And it was just kind of a big learning experience. And the biggest thing I could say to people is just niche down and become a professional if you're going through something like that at one niche so you can help them out. But yeah, I moved out here to Colorado about a year and a half ago, and things were going actually pretty good. And then everything just took a tank randomly when COVID started. So maybe not that randomly. Maybe people got fear in their mind. But yeah, in March of last year, we actually only went down to roughly $1,500, $2,000 in revenue for the company. So, less than a year later, we've been able to build it up just by staying persistent and all that type of stuff. So the niche that I'm in is actually in home improvements, in specifically interior remodeling for contractors and remodeling business owners.
I dig it, man. And yeah, I like how you mentioned doggy daycare. How was that ever a thing? Like, who did you know? How did you get into that first?
Yeah, so it's just networking. I'm a big networking guy. I like to say your network usually equals your net worth. So I'm a strong believer in something like that. So I was just networking. I think it might have been on LinkedIn. I was reaching out to people and I got connected with this guy who owns a cycle bar. If you guys are familiar with those studios, boutique fitness studios, and his brother actually ran a dog daycare center. So I was helping them out. And it just kind of trickled down, and it was a really good learning experience of how to run ads and stuff. But quickly learned that I had to produce like 90 clients a month in order to make my service work for them, which is, you'd rather, if you're looking for a niche, go after a niche where it's higher ticketed services. So then you can value yourself where you need to and get the results and charge what you think you're worth.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I think that's one of the biggest skills that you can possibly learn as an entrepreneur is just networking. Like I had this conversation the other day. I mean, I run a couple different businesses at this point right now, and a lot of them can run without me. And it's beautiful because like, especially with my agency, like if I'm ever out or something, like, and I'm networking with people and then just bring them like, oh, hey, this is what we do. Let's get on a call or something. And we don't even have to like, the power of networking is huge. And I did that the other day for like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was in Tampa, and we were out, enjoying the Super Bowl, having some drinks, having a good time, and somehow ran into some solar guys. Next thing we know, we get them on a call, they become a client, and it's like the power of networking is just huge. So you guys, for everybody on here, build up your network, like build up your social skills. That's one thing that, and I know me and you've had this conversation before, Ben, is like in this space, like everyone is just kind of so like Zoom heavy. It's like, go out there and enjoy life a little bit, enjoy who you meet. Like there's so many ways to like network and build relationships with people like on a daily basis that you never know, they could be your doggy daycare client at some point.
Exactly. And more or less take that same approach with all of your clients. So one book that I could suggest to people if they're looking for better retention is Never Lose a Customer. It's just like treating your customers right, celebrating their wins and stuff like that. And that's helped really, really well with building a good community and building long lasting relationships with my clients.
I want to dive in a little bit deeper on that, man, because I like that. What do you do when a client wins? Like, what's some of the secret sauce in Ben's agency? Like when a client gets a good result, like what do you guys do? You send them a champagne bottle, you celebrate, like what's up?
Yeah, definitely. We hype them up for sure. I mean, we're always trying to hype them up no matter what they're doing, and all their wins, whether that's big or small. But if it's like a first client that they close, we'll send them a nice bottle of champagne, some chocolates if they have a wife, and then as well as a personal written note to them as well, too, so they can keep. And more or less, when people are seeing that type of stuff, and it doesn't say like your agency, like it doesn't have to be like guerrilla marketing where it says your company logo or anything. But when someone sees something, it just reminds them of you and the success that they've had every time that they see it. So it leaves a bigger imprint on them.
I think that's 100%. Like that's what everybody needs to be paying attention to is things like that. Take a little bit of the budget that your client pays you and send it to them, whether it's just like something celebrating like like maybe they got a new client, or maybe it's a 3 months of being with your agency or something. Like I had a client
Exactly.
the other at the beginning of Christmas, I don't know, sent her like probably like $200 worth of stuff just because she's been with us for 3 years. And it's like, hey, like you said, celebrating the relationship that we've had, the time that we've had, and things like that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think a lot of people in this space forget to, repay the favor of your client paying you.
Yeah, I mean, even on top of that, I even go one step further. Like if there's a new client and I'm trying to get them on board, then like I'll give you a good example. This guy down in Texas, I was talking to him, trying to get him on board with us. And he goes, yeah, I mean, can we do another call? Actually, my dog just tore his ACL and I got to take him to the vet. And I was like, all right, no problem. So I literally logged online and I looked up his business address. I went to Petco and I bought a bone for his dog that my dogs really love, and sent him a text, said, hey, man, I got a bone on the way for your dog. Hopefully it's feeling better. So I even go a step further before they're even my client.
That's huge. That's huge. You got to take, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you take the risk. You take the
Yeah.
risk of buying an extra bone to get a client that could be with you for years to come.
You
So
buy a bone, you get a bone. That's how it works.
exactly. That's the model right here. Buy a bone, get a bone. Buy a
Yeah.
bone, get a bone. I love it, man. So if you guys have any questions for Ben, drop them down below. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just really wanted to highlight your success, because I always love, like, and I was telling my brother Blake about this. For you guys that don't know, Blake, he's a coach inside Six Figure Boss as well. And it's just like working with people like you and seeing your success, starting like from where you're at to see like, follow up a year later. I love seeing that, man. It's what motivates me. I know it motivates Blake and a lot of other people. So first off, man, kudos to you for just sticking at it and making moves. What would you say for, ideally a lot of our client, a lot of people watching this right now, they're around the point, kind of like when you got started, maybe they have a couple clients like, bouncing around, not niche specific. You want to shed some light on like what you would give it for advice for those type of people?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are at like, anywhere in between 5 to 10K, anything in that range, then I would say just doing the work and showing up day in and day out. I think the biggest thing that has happened for me from then to now is just a perspective and a paradigm shift of what I need to do and who I need to become in order to reach the goals that I have for myself. Because at the end of the day, guys, you really cannot reach the goals that you have if they're bigger than who you are now without becoming someone new. So unfortunately, becoming someone new it can't be negative, but you could lose friends, you could lose activities, you could lose hobbies, you can lose time. So you got to be willing to put in the work and sacrifice. So I'd really just reflect that yourself and make sure that this is actually what you want to do and the freedom that you want, and then go all in. Like someone on Instagram the other day was like, if you could say something to yourself 5 years ago, what would it be? In 3 words. And I just said, go all in, because there's no point to half-ass anything. Like I was taught, if you're going to do something, do it right the first time, or learn from it and move forward with it again. Don't quit. Don't give up. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of hard things. Like I can tell you right now, a lot of people that were in my situation just a month ago might have ended up quitting because my whole business manager got banned. My whole personal ad account on Facebook got banned. So I wasn't even able to advertise for my clients without coming up with solutions for them. So it was kind of like the whole agency could have crumbled in a quick second. But I just decided to use my resources, use my knowledge, tap into some of my mentors, and figure out what's going to be the best solution, and then clearly communicating with clients. So everyone goes through the mud at the end of the day. You're not the only one. People have been in your situation. So reach out, use those people, learn from their mistakes. That's probably the biggest thing, is learning from other people's mistakes before you make them yourself. So then you can save yourself time, energy, and money. And like Justin said, everyone that says they just go from 0 to 50K, it's kind of a lie, unless if you've already had another agency and you started another one in a new space, because obviously you already know the tips and the tricks. And yeah, that's kind of what I would say on the mindset side of things. And then the other thing is just getting down a process for your clients that's going to get them good results. Because when we first started working, Justin, actually, I didn't have a great process at all. It was kind of half-assed, if you would want to say, and it just wasn't. That's kind of why the retention wasn't there either. So that's a really big thing that Justin helped me develop, and it's kind of led me down this road to where I'm at and retaining clients. And then obviously the personal touch on top of that really goes a long way.
100%, man. And you brought up something that was really, well, two things off that, and we got some questions. I'll make sure we answer those. I see
Cool.
Deep and Kelsey. We'll get those in a second, but I really wanted to dive in a little bit more deeper on two things. One, I mean, it's funny because I kind of see it with like everybody when they hit that mark, usually between like 20 and 30K, you hit that mark where instead of like, you're always going to be a business owner, but you become a problem solving, you solve solution, you find solutions for problems. And we had the same issue too, man. Like we went right when we hit 30K, we had literally all of our ad counts shut down, everything. It was like one of those points like, oh my God, am I going to keep doing this? Am I going to quit? Am I have to give a bunch of refunds? And like, it's one of those things that, it builds you as a person. And it's just one of those stepping stones where, when that happens to you again, which it probably will, but oh, no worries. I know exactly what to do. It's just going to be a pain in the ass, but I got this. So I wanted to just bring that up because I see that a lot with people that are making moves. And, for you at least, just like keep going with that, because that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And the next thing is you brought up like when those scenarios happen is bring them up to like your coaches and mentors. And I know you specifically, you've been investing in yourself since we first met. What type of advice do you have for everybody out there that's, considering investing or, maybe at the point where they're like, hey, I can just do it all myself. What's your thoughts on all that, man?
Yeah, so I mean, I can tell you right now, the best thing to not bet on is the lotto ticket, the Powerball. It's going to be yourself is the best thing to bet on at the end of the day, because you're the person that knows what you're capable of, and you're the person that's going to be able to motivate you the most. So I would say if you're waiting to invest, or if you're on the line of investing in yourself, then I don't know what you're waiting for, because it's yourself. It's always going to be with you. And even if it's not something that you're in, let's say 20 years down the road, when the agency is automated, even probably less than 5 years. I mean, we're going to be automated here this year, so it can happen fairly quickly when you get the right pieces in place. But what I'm saying is you learn tangible things that go beyond the agency world when you invest into yourself. It's more like mindset that stays with you forever, right? You got to develop rhino skin, a bulletproof mindset. And on top of that, everything that you can learn here in marketing is going to go into any other business out there, because every business needs marketing to be successful. So even if your agency is not long-term or you automate it, you have the skills to do anything you want after that. Because honestly, running a business, like there's different businesses, right? There can be a different way to run businesses, but at the end of the day, I look at them all at the same skeleton or framework, what you have to have in place to have a successful business. So I can be honest with you guys right now. I can tell you right now, the remodeling world is not my passion. I don't love doing remodels. I mean, they are super beautiful. They are super sick when they get finished, but that's not my passion. My passion is helping people out and using this as a vehicle to get where I want to go. So that's what you have to look at this as, is a vehicle to get where you want to go, or to be able to help people. And at the end of the day, when you realize what you're doing, it's a lot bigger than yourself, because you're helping people change their environment. You're helping people change their family. You're helping people change their situation financially, not just their business. It goes a long way further than business. It dips into personal life.
Well put, my man. Well put. A lot of people get in this space thinking that they need to get into a passionate industry. And for the 90% of you guys out there that think you want to get in this because you're passionate in real estate, I'll tell you right now, don't do that. Get into something, because do it like Ben did. Figure out your other passion. Your passion this is a vehicle for your real passion of helping other people out. So I'm glad that you brought that up, my man. Let's pull up some of these questions and then we'll get you out of here, because, I know you're a busy man. You got money on the calendar today. So we'll make sure that we get all these answered real quick. So
Yeah,
go
no
ahead and
rush.
drop your last questions if you can.
Yeah, definitely drop some questions. Love to share some Pacific knowledge with you guys.
Cool. So Kelsey asked, what would you say is the best way to handle objections of people wanting to think about it / let you know versus just going all in on the call with you and then you can't get in contact with them again?
Yeah, so this is an objection that we've been getting a lot. So kind of what we do is we try and bring up the three main reasons that people don't move forward, which is price, the system that they don't believe in, or myself, which we kind of crack a little joke like, yeah, do you think I'm the guy that's going to take your money and move to Puerto Rico? Like something
You
like
got rid of
that.
the mustache, so I mean, I believe it now.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to have fun with it, but make sure you're bringing up those 3 points. And then if once you find that objection, nail it down. Or if they're still saying that they have to think about it, what we do is we set the mindset frame of this is a follow-up to answer your questions, not to make you make a decision. I think that's the biggest mistake that everyone makes, is that they set the follow-up call where they have to make a decision on the follow-up call. And that might be why you're getting ghosted on the back end of things. And if you are getting ghosted, what works really well is sending a GIF on Facebook if you have them added with like a guy that's lost in a field or something funny like that. And then how to handle it up front is, if you feel like they're just not wanting to tell you the real decision, you can even push back. It's okay to push back and get them to give you an answer if you can tell that it's just not any of those objections and they just are like unsure of what they want to do. Sales is leadership at the end of the day, so you have to take their hand and lead them down the path. So sometimes what we say is we pre-frame where they want to go, where we want them to go when we're closing them. And then we say, but where would you want to go? So it's like, hey, Justin, I think you know that the system's going to work. I think you know that this is the solution that's going to help you increase your revenue by $50,000. But, where would you want to go from here? Something like that. So you can lead them down the path, but then ask them and throw it back into their court. And if they still need to think about it, say, okay, let's set up a follow-up call and let's do that for your questions. Because I know when you get off this call, you're going to have a lot more questions that are going to be popping up in your mind. And you might even go discuss it with your wife or someone else. And usually when you get together with someone else and you think about stuff, more questions pop up. So let's make sure to get those answered. Have you do your homework to make sure you're making the right decision here. And this is the right solution for your company. So it's not pushy, but it's kind of a little bit pushy with setting it up and making sure that you're pre-framing their mind so you're not getting ghosted on the follow-up call.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would handle it too. I mean, you guys notice how Ben was straight with them there. And that's something that you guys, if you're struggling with sales, the biggest advice that I can give you, and sounds like Ben as well, is be straight up with everybody. Like, if they're like, oh, got to think about it. Okay, cool. Well, this is what's going to happen after you think about it. You're going to talk to other people, you have all these other questions, but always get that follow-up in play. That way you have an excuse for a reason to actually get to where they're at. And, I think the main thing that you kind of brought up there as well is just like having humor in the conversation. If you guys have never read the book, Little Red Book of Selling from Jeffrey Gitomer, go check that out. It's great for getting good at sales. And one of the main things he talks about is having that humor, because people buy from people that they laugh with and that they can have conversations with and see them in a good way.
Yeah. And lastly, set your follow-up call within 24 hours if you can.
Facts, 100%. Cool. Thanks for that question, Kelsey. Kelsey is actually a member of the Six Figure Boss, and I have no doubt in my mind that she's going to be on one of these calls here shortly.
I love that.
She is grinding. So shout out to you, Kelsey. Keep up the hard work.
Yeah, good question. Can't wait to see you on here.
Yeah. And Zach, another member of Six Figure Boss, what is your client system? Do you use Go High Level, or do you have another systematized process for your client leads? If so, what does that look like? Great question, Zach.
Yeah, so it's came a long way, I could tell you that. Before we were just doing lead forms and dumping them into Excel sheets and calling it a day, like pretty not advanced, but you got to start from somewhere at the end of the day. So if that's where you're at, invest in the program because it's going to get you where you need to go. But what we're doing now is we're using High Level. It's pretty advanced. We have a lot of sequences that we built up over time. So really what we're doing is we're basically taking them from Facebook, getting their information, sending them to a more advanced survey, and then allowing them to book a call with our client to streamline the process. So every niche is different with the experience, with the things that they experience. Like I know with real estate and home improvement world, a big thing is bad quality leads. And I think that could be a big thing in any industry as well. So it's more or less just being able to prove that you have a good screening and qualification process. Because what are the three things that people want more of? Money, time, and energy. So if you can save those things for them, then you're going to be the solution that they want. So that's what we do. We do capturing their information to a survey, to scheduling. I know some people that do information to scheduling to a survey. So it just depends how you want to set it up and more or less what your clients want. Listen to them. For a good example, one of my clients, he has been exposing a lot of onboarding holes for us. We just brought him on board like last week, and he's just like, yeah, I mean, we don't really know how to use the app. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to record a video on my phone of how to use the high level app. So it's just listening to your clients of what they want and then servicing them. So I think that's the biggest thing that I could say of nailing down your process. And that's the exact process we use as well.
That's huge. Definitely. That's one thing that we really take into consideration with our clients is, you know, originally, like whenever clients complained about something, we would take it as kind of like offensive. And then we'd be like, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. But like, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. You want to do exactly what Ben said. It's like, okay, well, if a client's complaining about this and they don't know, it's not because they're not tech savvy or whatever it is, even though they probably aren't. It's more of there's a hole in our system. And I love that you brought that up, man, that you're just building things over time. Because again, one of the common misconceptions is everyone thinks that, oh, it's going to be like that, you know?
Yeah.
And even if like, if let's say, for example, there was somebody on here that was a complete newbie and I gave you every single system that we use, which by the way, we do with the people that go in Six Figure Boss, it's not going to work for you like that because you have to tweak it over time like Ben has for your particular industry and your particular structure and style of how you do things inside your business. So I love that you mentioned that you built it up over time, and I'm sure you're going to be building it up over the next following years as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not adding more value, you're not adapting and getting better, then someone else is out there and they're going to take your shine or become the top dog in the industry. So always be proactive in rolling out new things and adding new value.
Don't let them take your shine.
That's right.
Last question. What are your favorite methods of outreach?
Yeah, so it's kind of a loaded question, right? Because I feel like you got to double down on what works the best for you. So my favorite methods of outreach are the ones that work the best. It's simple. So that's going to be Instagram, organic, Facebook ads. If you don't have that up already and you got some money stored away, talk to Justin, get those up. And then also we use Facebook as well. So what we're doing is we're kind of just using hashtags on Instagram to find home remodelers and stuff like that. And then leading into the conversation with simply just asking a question to get the conversation started. Pretty simple. Like if you're in the dentist industry, like, hey, do you guys do braces? If that's what your service focuses on, whatever it might be, to get the conversation started and then make a transition from there. I would say the biggest thing is getting people on calls as soon as possible rather than trying to have a big, long conversation with them on Facebook. So I would say Instagram, definitely. We actually have we actually have like 3 accounts on Instagram. Hopefully Instagram isn't listening to this. No, I'm playing. But we have 3 accounts on Instagram because it works so damn well for us. So we just doubled down on what works really, really well for us. So it's Instagram, Facebook, and then also we're running Facebook ads. So those are really the only 3 things that we're doing right now. But we're going to get an ecosystem going eventually. But like Justin said, you got to build up over time. Don't get too much work on your plate. Focus on what's going to move your needle forward the fastest, and then worry about the other stuff as your company's building up, right?
Right, right. Think about it like you guys think about it like you're throwing a fishing rod out. You're throwing like 10 poles out there. And out of those 10, 20% are probably going to bite at minimum. So 2 of those poles are going to take off, right? Out of those 2 poles, throw the other in the water and reel those ones in and double down. That's exactly what Ben's saying right here, what's working. Because a lot of times I see it too many times, people, they try throwing 10 poles in and try reeling all of them in. You got 2 hands, man. Can't do
Yeah.
that.
You're spreading
So,
yourself too thin.
yeah, focus on what's working, double down, and then scale out from there.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be my biggest advice for that question. Good question.
That was a great answer, man. Glad that you brought that up. Thank you guys so much for all the questions on here. And if you can, while we're on here, we'll get Ben to give one more piece of advice. But if you found value in this video and Ben's interview and, love seeing his results, give us a hashtag value down below. We're going to start doing more of these. But Ben, what would you say, if you were to put yourself back in the shoes where you're doing 5K a month, right? Kind of in that realm, because usually when you're doing 5K a month, no one's doing a consistent 5K a month. It's always, maybe you hit 10K, maybe you're back down to 2, but let's just say on average 5. What would you do right now to get you from 5K, let's just say, to double it, just to double your income? What would be the main thing that you would do right now to go from that point to doubling?
Yeah. The main thing that I would do is focus on getting really, really good results for one client, getting him to do a testimonial video for you, whether that's shooting him $50 or whatever it might be. Just getting a testimony video after you get someone really, really good results, and then go all in on sales. I can tell you when we first were at 5K, I was sending out literally 50 pre-recorded I recorded personalized videos for people, and I would send out 50 videos a day. So it's just putting in the time and focusing a lot on sales. And then, like we said, doubling down on what's working instead of trying to spread yourself too thin. So it's going to be good results for a customer. Develop a mindset that's rhino skin where no one can really puncture it. And then thirdly, double down on sales. And that's what you need to focus on if you're trying to scale up, because you got to have the sales in order to grow, and then taking care of the clients once you get the sales. Sales come first, clients come second.
Facts. Well, there you guys have it. That is the Benjamin secret recipe for doubling up your agency and getting predictable income. So Ben, thank you so much for hopping on here. We got a lot of hashtag values on here. I mean, I even found value hopping on here, talking to you as like always. So again, man, appreciate you hopping on here, brother.
Yeah, it's always good to catch up. If anyone wants any more advice, feel free to PM me or anything like that.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.
Appreciate it.